Okay, this is Chapter 7. In Chapter 7, we're rounding decimals and talking about significant figures. So some of the learning objectives for this chapter is describe the procedure for rounding decimals, demonstrate rounding decimals to the nearest tenth, the hundredth, and the thousandth, define significant figures, explain the importance of using significant figures in pharmacy calculations, and list the 4 rules for assigning significant figures. So we're going to talk about a little bit of all of these as you read through Chapter 7 notes in your book, which starts on page 43. But I'll mostly go over the rounding procedure with you, and we'll talk about what is a significant figure. So to round off decimals, you find the digit for place value you want, the rounding digit, and then you look at the digit just to the right of it. So if that digit is less than 5, so you do not change the rounding digit, and then you just drop all the other digits to the right. So if it's a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, you're going to round, you're just going to keep it the same. Okay, you do not change it. Okay, if the number, of course, if the digit is going to be greater or equal to 5, so 5 or higher, so it'd be 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, what you're going to do is you're going to add one number to the rounding digit and then drop all the other digits to the right. So these, you would add 1. So with the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, you always round down, and 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, you're always going to round up. So now to talk about significant figures a little bit. A significant figure or digit is, of course, a digit that is actually measured. So the number of a significant digits in a measurement depends on the measuring device used and the sensitivity of that measuring device. So when a calculation involves measurements with different numbers of significant figures in the entries or terms that are added, subtracted, multiplied, the answer should have the same number of significant digits or figures as the entry or the term with the least number of significant figures in the measurements. So rules for assigning significant figures are, and this is on page 44 in your book, digits other than 0 are always significant. So any regular number, not 0, but anything else besides 0 would be a significant number. Final zeros after a decimal point are always significant because they're considered what they call trailing zeros. Um, Zeros that are between two other numbers or two significant digits are always significant. Zeros used only to space the decimal are never significant. So leading zeros would not be significant. Okay, so next we're going to go over some examples of what we should do for homework or understand how to do for the quiz. Okay, if you look on page, of course, 47, the first set, 1 through 10, is asking you to round the following decimal numbers to the nearest hundredth. And remember, your hundredth spot is the second number past the decimal. So if you look at number 1, it's telling you that the number is 132 dot or decimal 3, 5, 7, 8, and 9. So we're going to round this number to the nearest hundredth. So we look at the hundredth spot, which is a 5. Okay. And the number to the right of it here, number 7, is greater than 5. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to add 1 to the 5 and make it a 6. And then we're going to drop the rest. So then your number becomes 132.36. Number 2, the number given to you is 6.993928394. And we're going to round to the nearest hundredths. And the nearest hundredths is, remember the hundredth spot is 2 digits past the decimal. So you have here, you look over to the right hand side of it. This is a 3. It's less than 5. So all you're going to do is you're just going to drop these. Okay, so then your number becomes 6.99. Number 3 is another example. The number given is 2.357895733. We're going to round it to the hundredths spot, and it's right here. Okay, so we look over to the right hand side of it, and again, of course, it's a 7. So we're going to add 1 to the 5. So it'll be 2.36, and then we're going to drop the rest. Skip over here to number 9. The number given is 101.234. We're going to round it to the nearest hundredth. Hundredth spot is where the 3 is at. Then we look over to the right side of it. We have a 4. It's less than 5, so we're just going to drop it. And so your number is 101.23. Okay, next on number 11 through 20, you're going to do the same thing, but you're just rounding it to the nearest tenth. So number 11, your number is 80.015. And to round it to the nearest tenth, okay, the tenth, of course, would be here. You look over to the right-hand side. It's lower than, that's a 1, so it's less than 5, so we're just going to drop them and do nothing to the 0. So it's 80.0. Number 12, you have 7.555. We're going to round it to the nearest tenth. Tenth spot is the 5. So look over to the right-hand side. It is 5. So 5 or greater, you add 1 to this one and then drop the rest. So it'll be 7.6. Okay, next example is going to be 21 through 32. We're rounding to the nearest whole number. So 21 is 32.134. So your whole number is anything in front to the of the decimal point to the left side of it. So it'd be 32. So you always still look at that number, okay, to the right side of it. It's less than 5. So then what we're going to do is we're just going to drop those. So your answer, of course, would be 32. Number 22, your number is 55.556. Okay, again, we're working at the whole number, and you'll look up to the number to the right side of it, which is a 5. Okay, so 5 or greater, you're going to add 1. So you would add 1 to the 5 in front, drop these. So then your whole number rounded to the nearest whole number will be 56. Okay, next set of examples, you have 41 through 45. And of course, these are just pertaining to the rules. This is 6.222 thousandth gram. So it's just, you just want to determine the number of significant figures in each measurement. So all these numbers are whole numbers. So you would have 4 significant figures. Okay, 42, your number is 0.123 kilograms. And your number, remember the leading zero is not significant, but if it was a zero between two numbers, it would be. So this one you would have 1, 2, 3, only 3 significant numbers. So those are examples of that. So you just tell me how many numbers is significant figures. Okay. So go ahead and work on those problems. Answers are in the back of the book. If you have any questions, I'm available during my office hours for tutoring or to go over some of these examples. You can also email me as well too.